G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me is Willie. How are you, Willie?
I'm doing all right, Jared. How are you?
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream. Looking forward to Christmas. Just want to before we get into the pod, I just want to give a shout out and put some info out there. So, anyone based in Australia or available at Australian time zones like now, this time, in 2025, we're looking to add two new members to this show on the Celtic Down Under podcast. So, if you are interested in joining the Thursday Sesh with myself, Willie, and Jared, please send me an email at downunderceltic@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook page and send me a message there. You can go to Twitter or Blue Sky, send me a direct message there at Celtic Down on any of them. More than happy to have a discussion with anyone wanting to get involved. We're just looking to grow the team. Got a few people with work having to move things around. Dan is no longer on the Thursday, so she's going to be appearing on the Monday on the pot noodle. So we're just looking to get a couple of new people involved, freshen up the lineup. So if anyone is available and wants to get involved, send me a message. Happy to have a discussion. So, Willie, got to
Yeah,
ask you a quick question here.
yeah.
What do you think of the cup final? I'll give you pretty much open slather right here to give us your view. I've had my say on Monday already, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, it was a bit of a poor performance from us side, to be honest. Rangers pressed us well. They flooded the middle of the pitch, and they just started hoofing long balls up and feeding off the second balls they were picking up. Like I think we got a bit more success in the game when the fullbacks started playing on the outside rather than trying to come inside the whole time because we utilised the width of the pitch and we kind of stretched their overload that they have in the middle of the pitch. But ultimately, we were just too good for them. Like, we turned in one of our worst performances in a Glasgow derby I've seen in a long time, and we still cut them open when we needed to. So this is a team of players to me that just don't know when they're beat. So it's a good sign, you know what I mean? And the fallout that's coming with it, it just makes it all the sweeter. Like,
Yeah, the fallout. That's one of the main things we're gonna discuss on tonight's pod. But yeah, the fact that we got a lot of players with the right mentality, they want to get in there and fight and battle and make it happen. It's great. So yeah, I'll just bring up a few comments here to start things off, and then we'll get into the fallout from it. So, smell the glove. G'day, troopers. That's how it is, right? Should that be our new intro music, except for the copyright issues? Yep, totally. Andrew, how you going, mate? Nice evening here in Melbourne. Yeah, it's a bit hot in this room I'm in at the moment because, yeah, not much wind getting in here, so the aircon's ruining my flag behind me. But anyway, 28th, 28th of May, 1888. Hail, hail. Martin saying, morning, lads. RL77, make penalty to Rangers great again. And Smell the Glove is saying, day 5 in the Big Hoose meltdown, and the natives are looking for a replay date. Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. So there's been some absolute cracking things over the last 3 or 4 days in particular of stupidity and agendas. And the way I look at with this whole meltdown, they're carrying on about a penalty that wasn't given, yet they got the free kick for the foul before it anyway, didn't they, Willie?
they did, yeah.
So that negates whatever happens after that. Beaton is looking at it going, what can I do here? I'll get him within range where I'm talking like it's Beaton here. Oh, I can get Tav a free kick, because he's so far up his ass and everything like that. So, yes, I made it 5 seconds past the 5-minute mark before I dropped that. So, perfect. But, like, he got like the free kick and he's like, oh, this is great. But then VAR's there for clear and obvious error. Clearly, it wasn't obvious enough that there was an error because the first foul call was the right call. So you can't pay a penalty for that. when that's the carry on of the first, and it started outside the box and was dragged in, if it was. So what they're carrying on about makes absolutely no sense under the rules. They got a call anyway in their favour, and you can guarantee if the VAR ref and Beaton were able to do something and upgrade it and get a penalty, they would have done so because that's their team. So, as far as I'm concerned, Willie, it's much ado about nothing here. They're just absolutely carrying on for the sake of they want to get their own echo chamber going, and then the BBC didn't help. They've carried on, and then you get people like Chris Boyd carrying on. We need an investigation, blah blah blah. And when Celtic looked into it and things changed, I'm just going on a bit of a rant here, and I'm going to let you have a rant in a second. But the only thing above all else, they're even talking about, the referees changed. So when Crawford Allen was there, they'd get these calls. Now it's Willie Collum. They're not getting these calls. The difference is Brendan Rodgers called out the absolute bullshit, right? He got charged. He missed a game or two. I think it was 2 games. And what happens when he gets calls out and he cops that suspension? Clearly, he's copped it, but something has been done. And the thing that's been done, above all else, is Rangers aren't getting gifted penalties every game now. They're finally getting officiated correctly, how they should have been getting officiated for years. And the fans aren't liking it, and they're having a massive meltdown. That's my take on it. But Willie, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, the fallout from this one's been bigger than the blast zone in Chernobyl. Like, they are hurting big time over this, and I'm here for it. Like, you know what I mean? There's a caller on Super Scoreboard saying the game should be replayed, and another's declaring the results should be null and void. The fact remains that, listen, we've been telling them for years the Scottish football referees aren't up to the task, and they've just laughed at us. They've called us paranoid. It's all in our heads, like, you know what I mean? It's now that VAR's come into play, you can't hide from these things. You know what I mean? If a mistake is made, it's corrected. You know what I mean? They can't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. Before, if a situation like that would have arisen, then it would have been, oh yeah, that's a penalty to Rangers, and nobody could question it. Oh well, we made an honest mistake. We're sorry about that. These honest mistakes don't really happen anymore. For me, in the incident, Scales loses control of the ball. He takes a bad touch and he swings his leg at it, and that's where the foul happens, and that's all outside the box. Once he takes that swing at him, he misses it. He grabs a hold of his shirt, and I think it's 2 separate. Well, it all ties into the one sort of motion, but I think the free kick is given for that swipe he takes after he takes a bad touch. But they think it's all, you know what I mean? They think it's all down to his sort of Alan Muir in the VAR room and his assistant, who's by all accounts a Catholic, who's head of a Celtic supporters club, and they're going tonto about this one. Like, how can somebody who is head of such and such Celtic supporters club be allowed to be in the VAR room refereeing a final in Scotland? Listen, we had John Beaton in the middle of the pitch. Alan Muir was the main man. You don't get any stauncher referees in this pair, you know what I mean? And the two of them couldn't concoct to give you a penalty. That's not our problem, you know what I mean? You want to cry about it? That's fine. You took this up with the SFA. We have been telling you for long enough that these guys aren't good enough to do the job. And now you are reaping what you sow by laughing at us and calling us paranoid and ignoring the obvious signs that have been there for years to come. Like, you know what I mean? If they want to be serious about this, then now is the time. Let's talk about getting foreign referees in to referee these big matches. Let's get the best referee from the League of Ireland to come in and referee an Old Firm game. Like, you know what I mean? Let's see how they would like that one. Let's go to Poland and get their top official over here. Like, guy,
Willie, all I'm going to say, 2 things. Number 1, there is no such thing as the Old Firm anymore. 2, I'm just doing that, preempting that before the comments do. I'm saving you. But 2, the other thing is they are so. Oh, they go, the guy there, he's a Catholic. He's this, like you were saying, right? He's a runner CSC, that sort of stuff. But as you said, Beaton's a Rangers fan. But the Lanarkshire Referees Association, who's had basically carte blanche on it for years, what are they? all I'm going to say, what are they? And the thing is, the issue with refereeing in Scotland, it's not just a Glasgow thing. Where are the Dundee-based referees coming through? Where are the Aberdonian ones? Where are the ones from up Dingwall Way and Inverness? Where are the ones from Edinburgh coming through? You don't have that. So ideally within Scotland, you're playing a Glasgow derby, you shouldn't have John Beaton or Alan Muir involved. Shouldn't have a VAR guy who's a known Celtic fan. You should be able to get these guys and pull up the resources from elsewhere and be like, let's get the ref from Aberdeen, or let's get the ref from Dundee to run it. Let's have the guy from Aberdeen on VAR. And that way it takes all this bullshit out of it. And what does it do? It suddenly fixes the issue. There's no unconscious bias. If you can't fix it that way, and that's going to take time for these refs to come through, then as you're saying, yeah, bring in the best ref that you can get from Holland or Belgium, or get someone from Germany, or get a FIFA approved ref from Italy, or someone who won't be scared of that environment. Go get some mad Serb refs. Go do something like that. Like, there's plenty of FIFA accredited refs that you could bring in for these games. So I just think it's a bit of a laugh, all things considered. They're just absolutely, I'm going to say it, they're just too busy being like Lewis Palmer and playing with their dicks. That's pretty much a lot of them. As Robert Gibson saying, 'tis the season for giving. I am gift wrapping Palmer the wank at her Rangers. I was wondering how long it'll take. What do we got here? So a few extra comments here. Smell the Glove was saying, and they think this mysterious penalty has already been scored and Celtic haven't come back to the score. Then you've got RL77. They are absolutely broken. A Spanielification and a supremacist ideology don't mix well. Smell the Gloves saying, over here, Radio Clyde and BBC Sports Scene were even worse than Chris Boyd. Neil McCann went unchallenged for 5-10 minutes about a Stonewall penalty. Don't worry, we hear all them on the podcast over here. What do you think I've been listening to the last 3 days, honestly? Super Scoreboard, anyone? There you go. Some good stuff. Robert Gibson, if the game was replayed, we would kick them a new hole. Yeah, I just think all things considered here. There you go, Smell the Glove saying the totally biased main stand linesman was right there and they didn't signal a penalty. Douglas Baird is saying your rant was spot on. Smell the Glove saying Frank Connor was only assistant VAR. Alan Muir was the head VAR for the game. And yeah, so all things considered, I think they just got to take their medicine and get on with it. Like, it's absolutely hilarious to see the meltdown. I thought it was bad after the Julian goal a few years back. They're saying, oh, the offside Julian goal. Was he offside? Yeah, probably. But I'm still refusing to 100% admit it. But yeah, it's I just think it's funny. It's hilarious just to see them absolutely broken and inject this stuff right into my veins. Like, these guys, the levels of dilutamol being taken at the moment, unbelievable. The Hun tears and the Hun pain is just amazing. And yeah, best thing is we've ruined their Christmas, and then we get to ruin their New Year in a couple of weeks. So, yeah. And what are we, 9 points clear still with a game in hand? There you go, Smell the Glove. See, there it is. Hollander played Julian on in 2019. See, that's why I didn't admit that it was offside, because I didn't think it was.
No, he was definitely onside. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what? This whole thing, is his foot on the line? Is that a penalty if it's on the line, outside the line? Like, do you know what would have made this better if his foot was inside the box? I would have loved that even more. Oh, look at that. He is actually inside the box. Just suck it up.
The funny thing, Willie, as well, is I look at it and go, okay, so on the line is on the outside of the pitch, right? Then you get to the penalty box, on the line is in. But There was one, when was it, 2 years ago? A Barter gets absolutely ripped to shreds and taken to the ground in the box. Same contact, not called. And that's
Yep.
in the box. So take your medicine. And as 28th
Yeah.
of May, 1888, saying, even my Hun mates are embarrassed by the meltdown. All I have to say, the only thing wrong with what you just said there is having Hun mates. Because, yeah, I'm just joking with you. No, it's ridiculous because you've got that, but then during the game, if that is in the box, then does that mean anytime the goalkeeper is standing at the edge of the box and reaching out of it like that to grab the ball and bring it in, is he outside the box or is he in the box? When a goalkeeper throws it and steps over the line, is he in the box or out of the box? Should it be a red card? Should it be a yellow? Should it be a free kick? If they want to start getting nitpicky like this over a line at the top of the box, look at all the ramifications. And
It'll
anything
be
else? Not,
interesting.
sorry, Willie.
Sorry.
I was saying,
I
how
was
come
just
you
gonna-
get a free kicks right on the line? Surely a penalty instead then. Yeah. Sorry, back what were you going to say?
I was just going to say it'll be interesting to hear what the VAR audio comes out with because they are going to release that. Like, so it'll be interesting to see what Alan Muir and John Beaton are saying to each other. They're going to say, I think they're going to say that it's a foul in the build-up, and the pull that happens on the edge of the box is after the matter. So it's going to be interesting to see what this one says. Like, but if it doesn't say what they wanted to say, it's going to make the situation even worse. You know what I mean? It's just going to keep going, and then Friday will be Big Clement's day for doing his interview with the media, so it's all going to get brought up again about then. And then I think Saturday, the release of the VAR review shows out, so it's just going to ramble on, this one.
Can't wait for the
I
Willie
know.
Collins show and then the backlash off that as well. It's going to be great. Just wait for the bigotry and pain and disgusting comments to just pour out of them. It's going to be magic.
Yep.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll leave that topic there because I think we could just bang on about it for another 20 minutes if we really wanted to. But what we'll do is we'll just talk about what are we, 2 weeks away from the transfer window opening. So we're starting to get some stories coming in. So it looks like the transfer silly season is upon us. So we'll rattle through a few of them, and we'll start off with the rumours of departures and loan recalls and stuff. So currently there is rumours that Celtic are going to be recalling Dane Murray from his loan spell in January. So Willie, with Lewis Palmer, Mike Nawrocki and Stephen Welsh all being rumoured to be looking for moves out of the club, is Dane Murray coming back to Celtic a good replacement for the role that Stephen Welsh is currently filling in the squad, i.e. the fifth string centre-back?
Yeah, it is, because he probably will get a little bit of game time over this, because we've said December is going to be a busy period and January is just as busy as well. So if January comes round, Welsh and Nawrocki manage to sort of get a move for themselves away, then there is a place there. And, CCV, he's coming back from major injuries. He's starting to get a head of steam again, but he will need a rest here or there. So one of these games, he might sit out the game. They might push Trusty over to the right side of centre half, but they might just turn out to Dane and say, look, you've done really well in your role. Where is it he's on loan at, to be honest?
I think he's at Queen's Park, isn't he?
Yeah, so, they might just say, look, you've done well there. There might be a game against, I don't know, St Johnstone or Ross County coming up that they could throw him into and just say, let's see how you do against these boys, because this is the next step up for you in your natural progression. So, it does make sense to me. Yeah, it makes absolute sense, yeah.
I think it's good as well for Dane Murray if he's to come through and break things. Good for the homegrown factor as well for Europe. But I was impressed when I saw him last time, and then he just had back-to-back years of injury. So he's had a good half a season out on loan, getting some regular football. So why not bring him in and let him learn directly from Trusty and from Carter Vickers and whoever's there and potentially develop into the role? It's always good to see. And yes, Henrik McLaughlin, as they've had on the screen for a while, the KT Claxton is going absolutely ballistic. We will be talking about him soon. Smell the Glove is saying, KT played 69 minutes last night and, as usual, went off injured. It's actually been confirmed that he's not injured. So we'll see what actually did happen. But it was just Arteta being a Hun and pushing him down. Yeah, but... Well, I think that's always a good thing. But what we'll do is we'll scale it back from the Dane Murray part of the question to the three guys who are apparently looking for moves. So Robert Gibson will be absolutely wrapped with Lewis Palmer potentially leaving. What's your thoughts on that, Willie?
Yeah, Palmer's not going to cut the mustard at Celtic. He's a talented player, but he's not at Celtic's level. He's the sort of player who could go to a team like Hibs and be their star man, and he could have the freedom at Easter Road to play in that number 10 role, which I think he would probably suit, and the rest of the team will work around him to try and let him work his magic and give him that freedom of the pitch. But you don't get that sort of time and space at Celtic. You've all got to contribute. When it means tracking back, you need to track back. Palmer's not the sort of player that's going to do that sort of thing. So for me, yeah, it's not going to work for him at Celtic. So you're better off cutting our losses now and move him on while we might still get a nominal fee for him. Like
Palmer's basically the if he went to Hibs, he'd be like Martin Boyle there. Let's be honest, look like a star man. But it's also, I look at him in the same way that I look at Bernabé, best left back in Brazil, but not good enough for Celtic. Yeah. And Palmer would be the same. He could go elsewhere, do well the rest of his career, but couldn't cut it in cold old Glasgow. I kept saying that he hibernates for half the season because it's too cold for him. And then he goes off during that time, plays well in international football. So, yeah, Palmer goes, great, we're going to have to replace him. We've been linked with a couple of left wingers that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. So, yeah, we'll leave that one there. Mike Nawrocki. I think he's just had a tough run injury-wise. I still think there's a player there, but he's not going to knock Trusty out of the team. He's not going to knock Carter Vickers out of the team. So he's third-string right centre-back. I'd like to keep him, but I'd like to send him on loan for 6 months to just get consistent football into him. What are your thoughts, Willie?
Yeah, he's a decent player. I mean, you can see that in some of the games he's played. He had one game he had a rough time. I think it was Aberdeen he played, and he had a bit of a tough time in that game against... what's the boy that went to Spain? Can't remember his name now. We were linked with him. Anyway, he had a tough time against him, Miofsky, that's it. And he had... but other than that, he's done all right when he's come in. But like you say, he's just been hampered by injuries. But you look at the setup we've got now. We've got Trusty and CCV. He's not going to dislodge CCV. He's only ever going to be back up to CCV. So the chances are he's probably going to say to himself, well, I'm 25 years old. I need to be playing regular football. If I have any ambition to play for Poland at a national level, or if I have any ambition to play European football again, whether I have to go to back to Legia or go to PSV or some Feyenoord, another team like that, where he might actually get a game or a run of games, then that's what he might need to do for his own career. He needs to think about himself here, right? So I wouldn't begrudge him a move. You know what I mean? If he wants to go, then just let him go. Like we just discussed, Dane Murray can come back in and be that fallback for CCV if CCV does have a recurrence of his injuries or does need a rest. So yeah.
Yep, 100%. And then Stephen Welsh. For me, I look at him and go, he's been rumoured for years with teams in England, France, Italy. Realistically, he's at that point where he's fifth-string centre-back. He's been a good servant. The only thing he's really doing for our squad is giving us that homegrown, club-developed player for Europe, which Dane Murray can cover that role off anyway in the Champions League. So, at the end of the day, for his career, I actually think it's better for him to move on.
Yeah, I think with Welsh, it's a confidence thing now. Every time he comes on, he gets injured, and it's not going to do his confidence any favours either. I think that a move would be best for him, to be honest. Like, you know, I mean, he needs a run of games. He's at that age where if he doesn't get a consistent run of games, he's just going to have a stop-start career where he's just going to be a backup defender wherever he goes. So I wish him all the best, and I'll sort of keep a half eye out for whatever team he signs for and the results. If I see them on the video printer as they come in, I'll just say, oh, that's Welsh's team. How's he getting on there? But yeah, it's not going to. He's never ever going to crack the first team at Celtic. So it's time to move, I think.
To just be something absolutely stupid here. I was playing FIFA the other night on the weekend, and I did a swap deal. Stephen Welsh out, Ryan Porteous in, and like, I don't know, I just thought it was ridiculous. Get one Scottish guy in for another. Porteous isn't the answer either, by the way. I'm just saying that to show the sort of level that he's at. But yeah, he needs a move. So what I'll do is we'll go to some of the comments. So where are we at here? So we've got 28th of May is saying Welsh and Taylor moving on. We need 2 homegrown players at least. If that's if Forrest makes the European squad. That's fine and everything. Like, Welsh goes out, Dane Murray comes in. That's the club developed player slot filled. So then it's a matter of getting another association trained player to replace Taylor in the squad. I'd almost be happy to look at Mackenzie from Aberdeen. Apparently he's wanting to move at the end of the season. He comes in, he'd be association trained, and that fixes that problem because Taylor, with his years at Killy, out, Mackenzie in, sorted. So that's a simple way of handling it in that regard. Smell the Glove is saying, is Palmer actually still here? And Jamie Cameron is saying, where is Palmer going? The talk on that one, Jamie, is that Palmer is looking to either go back to Honduras. There's rumours of him looking to go back to the Greek League. And there's all sorts of other stuff like Spain and Portugal as well. So that's what I'm hearing. And Robert Gibson would say, where's Palmer going? Come on, Robert, let us know in the comments, where's he going? I think the answer is to fuck. So Charlie Lacey is saying, if we can sign Valle and KT, that would work for me. As Smell the Glove saying here, Valle said he wants to go home to Barca in May for another try. I think he'll go back there if he doesn't make it. He actually might be interested in coming back. You never know. Robert Gibson saying Burner Bay has lost his mullet. What do we got? Smell the Glove is saying Naroski, Lager and Welsh all out. Is Lager on loan or did we actually sell him?
I thought we sold him.
I don't know. It's probably on loan. Andrew Galore is saying we should be happy with 3 centre-backs and young fellas behind them. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. It's that pathway that we talk about as well. And Andrew, I was saying it as a joke because that's what I did on FIFA. I wasn't actually saying to sign Ryan Porteous, okay? And breathe. We're good now. Mahesh is saying Welsh is a major defensive liability with his inability to mark on the line and track runs. He also has a habit of making a mistake and then grabbing at his shoulder or his arm like he's hurt himself like 10 minutes after he's done a mistake. So mentally he's a little bit weak there. 28th of May is saying Welsh reminds me of Jack Hendry, a ball-playing centre-back. Could be another £8 million mistake, as that's what we lost when he was sold on by the other club. Smell the Glove is saying Prentice from Hearts is worth looking at left back. Good shout. He was actually one of the better players when we played them the other day, and yeah, he's homegrown as well. So yeah, that's a good idea. And then Henrik McLaughlin saying at the moment Palmer could get a gig at Spurs. Robert Gibson, I asked you where Palmer will get a move to. He said a Honduran prison is someone's bitch. Mahesh is saying whoever Celtic get at the back, we need speed and athleticism. And John Clements is saying a large signing on fee for Kieran plus top tier Celtic salary should be enough to get him. KT is what we need to get on in Europe. Let's remember KT can also fill in at centre back. Mahesh, don't be saying that. Anyone who think you've just been watching White Men or something like that. There you go, Charlie Lacey. KT is academy trained, so that would cover that as well. So say if we were to bring KT back, which we'll get into now with the comments. So Celtic are being heavily linked with a Kieran Tierney return to the club to strengthen the left back position. The rumours are He looks like he's on the way out at Arsenal. Arteta can't stand him. He's out of contract at the end of the season. And the thing where Arsenal can extend his deal by a year past that cutoff date. So the way I would look at it is give him a loan fee, get him in the rest of the season, and then sign him on a pre-contract if you can do it, and lock him down and get him in back in the team. But there is the question mark because of his injury history. He's had nothing but problems since he went down where it's warmer, so who knows? Willie, what's your thoughts? Would you love Kieran Tierney back at the club, or do you think we should look for something similar but not him?
Nah, I would definitely take Kieran Tierney back in a heartbeat, man. He's a quality fullback. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about that. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, he's struggling with injuries, but if we can get to the bottom of that, he's a player who can add real quality to that left-hand side. I mean, it's something we've seen from the weekend's game. Left back is a priority position. He's looked at. Valle might be the answer, but he's young, he's inexperienced. Greg Taylor's making mistakes week in, week out now. Like, it's and he's there's no real signs of a deal being brokered between either parties from either direction. So that one seems to be he'll be gone this time next season. So yeah, I've seen a lot of negativity, like he's injury prone, that he left the club and he shouldn't be welcome back and all that. But KT, he's head and shoulders above what we have. Like, you know what I mean? Those silly mistakes that happened from the left back positions over the last few weeks in Europe and that, like, they wouldn't happen with Kieran Tierney in the team, or at least he would be able to get back. Because the amount of times I've watched Celtic play, Greg Taylor's inverted, the ball goes over and it goes into acres of space on the left-hand side, and you're screaming at the TV, look, that is your position, Greg Taylor. Where are you and why aren't you covering it? That won't happen with Kieran Tierney on your side, like, you know what I mean? And I also think Baye would learn a lot from Kieran Tierney because they're both two fullbacks who like to go on the overlap and maraud up and down the pitch, like, so for me, it would be a win-win situation. Like I say, if we can get to the bottom of the injury crisis, that might work in Baye's favour. If he comes back, there's going to be a lot of game time for him while we do sort of manage injuries like we have been with CCV and to try and get him so he can get a consistent run of games. But yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. If we can get it done, get it done.
So we've got some comments here. So Henry McLarson saying, if Rodgers wants KT back, you'd hope he'd have a plan on how to properly manage him. But don't forget he was there. He was here. When he was here, he got flogged into the ground, which probably led to a lot of these injuries. Robert Gibson saying, I wouldn't bring KT back unless a loan to see if his injuries can hold up. We've got here, May the 28th is saying, love KT, but why are the club seriously looking at a player who's spent the last 4 years injured? Expensive mistake. Going back to the Dane Murray thing, Smell the Glove saying, if Brendan thinks Dane Murray is good enough as CCV's right-sided backup, then fine. Must think he can improve him. And Rodgers does have a history of developing young players, so I'd like to see that. And then just having a look here. Yeah, and as Smell the Guy saying, this isn't a 19-year-old rampaging KT, by the way. Yeah, we get that. It's the thing for me as well with KT is if he comes in, I want to have that production line as I keep talking about. Like when we brought Schmeichel in, we brought Sinisalo in as well, right? So we've got the older experienced keeper and we've got the younger understudy ready to take the jersey from him in a year or two. I'd love to have KT come in, but I want to have someone behind him learning, developing to take that role long term. Whether that is a Mitchell Frame or whether that's Matt Anderson, who currently has KT 63, if my memory is right. Or whether we go and sign someone, like I said early on, Jack McKenzie. Is it Jack McKenzie? I think so, up from Aberdeen. So you've got KT starting and then you've got McKenzie as his understudy. That would work because then, as you're saying, then we can rotate it. If we don't bring McKenzie in, if we get KT back, but then we have Valle come back for another year on loan and he can develop behind him. So realistically, there's options here. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't be against it. Plus, he brings a lot of leadership and and know-how. So Taylor's one of the leaders in the clubhouse at the moment, and if he leaves, you're going to lose a bit of it. But if you brought Tierney in, you're not going to be worse off in that regard. Now, a couple of the other rumours are Celtic are being linked with Norwegian left winger Sondra. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm going to play it how it's said. It sounds like arse eater, by the way. So,
or Haas eater,
Sondre
or Haas eater.
or Haas-eater. There you go. So, Norwegian left back looks really promising. Yeah, Willie, you had a bit of a look into it before. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this one came out of the blue. I had never heard any of it. Obviously, I'm not over in the UK anymore reading the red tops and that. I don't see these sorts of things anymore. So this one came out as the blue until I saw the run sheet. So I did a little bit of digging on and I watched a couple of videos. And I have to say, I was quite impressed by some of the crosses and some of the way he was playing, man. He's a very, from what I can see, he's a very technical and intelligent winger who appears to have a great first touch and control. He's that right-footed left winger, and he seems to be comfortable receiving the ball in tight areas with people on his back. So definitely be there to challenge Maeda to give us that extra dimension out there. It's something that we've been sadly missing. You know what I mean? Having Dyson's raw, explosive pace out there is great, but sometimes Dyson, when he comes back from Japan, he's a bit jaded. You know what I mean? He needs something. He needs just a bit of rest, or just he needs to come out of the team. And there are certain games where his form just goes out the window, his touch deserts him, and that. But this is the sort of player who you'd be quite happy to come on and play in place of him. You know what I mean? Or this when Dyson tires after 60 minutes, you could take this guy on and let him have a run. He's 21, 22 years old, so yeah, it's a win-win for me. This one.
Yeah, I was having a look, Willie, and he's a 5'11" left winger. Likes to come inside, which is perfect for the way Rogers plays. You know, if you've got Kun on the right who likes to come in onto his left foot, and then Johnson overlapping, and then on the left you've got Horsseeder coming in on his right foot, and then you say if you sign KT, for instance, you got him overlapping or Valle overlapping. It takes us exactly back to what Rogers loves to have happen, the dynamic between the fullback and the winger. So, yeah, he's looking pretty good. He's had, I think it's 13 goal contributions this season. So, 11 big chances, ranks 6th amongst all players in Norway's top flight in this statistic. He has close to 2 key passes a match. The combination of his football brain and his technical ability could help him have a long career in European football. That's according to the Football Talent Scout website. And yeah, he plays for the Norwegian under-21 national team. Sorry, yeah, under-21s. He's had 7 caps for them. Played 28 games this season for 5 goals. So yeah, he's looks a promising player. If we can get him in, and Brendan wants to get him in and develop him, then I'm all for it. And what that does is, if you sign up him and you get someone else in as a left back, we're talking about Monday about strengthening the left side of the field. There you go. So I'll just go through some comments here. RL77 said the new left back should be at least 6 foot. Heavy Vibes is saying pay as you play for KT. Smell the Glover saying Jack McKenzie is 6'3", so at least he won't get the Taylor Hobbit too small flung at him. He'll also be able to mark the back post nicely, so that always helps. Michael McDonald is saying on KT, would any of you drop 100K a week to move employment? No chance.
The thing with that is KT's not. I don't think he's been offered a new deal with Arsenal, so he's going to drop that 100K anyway. So he may as well come somewhere where he's going to get a game and be adored by the fans, you know what I mean.
And then 28th of May is saying we've done better in Europe with Greg Taylor playing left back than KT ever did. And Hale versus Mick. What are you saying, Willie?
I've said a better team now. Greg Taylor's the weak link in our team at the moment at left back. we had a quality left back in there, we could push on to the next level. So.
Yeah. So if we were to strengthen both of those positions with those players there, Willie, you'd be happy with strengthening the left side? You'd think the team be more balanced?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if we get both of them in, it's a win-win for me. Like, absolutely. Like,
Mahesh is saying Sondre is averaging 0.5 assists and goals per 90 minutes. So it's a very good quality baseline to build on. There you go. That's one for the stat heads. So what we'll do is, if you're looking for any last-minute Christmas presents, www.celticdownunder.com, go to our shop, have a look on there for T-shirts. They ship from the UK, from the US, Australia, wherever you're from. We've got like the print on demand for the T-shirts and the hoodies and drink bottles. So if you order them now, can't guarantee they'll be there by Christmas, but if you feel like having a crack at it or doing that, we'd love your support. So cheesed it right up with that. Willie, we got our first game against Dundee United. I think it is because when we were supposed to play them last time, it was put off for a cup game. So we're going to play Dundee United on Sunday up at Tannadice. So what are your general thoughts heading into the game?
yeah, it's our first encounter with the Arabs this season. Like, I'd expect to see a few changes coming in after a long, grueling game at the weekend and a big, grueling fixture list coming up. So I reckon there'll be a few changes to be made. But Dundee United are going all right this season. They're sitting fourth in the league. They're winning every second game. They're drawing every second game and only losing the odd game here or there. So credit to Jim. I can't remember his second in now. Deserting me that. It's twice now. It's happened. Jim Goodwin, that's it. I had him down to be the first manager sacked this season. I mean, I had the Dundee United team down to be the team that would struggle. Like so, but that's not been the case. They've got Sam Dalby up front. He's shown he's a decent player. They've got Ryan Strain, who's arrived from St Mirren. I think he's an Australian boy, is he?
Yeah, from Adelaide.
He's come in. He's done all right in that fullback role out there on the right. And they've also signed Babunski and Trapanovski. I think they've come from the Macedonian leagues or something like that. So they've got a decent side there. They're playing a 3-5-2. I think it's a 3-5-2 system they're playing. So that tells me the midfield's going to be pretty compact. So for me, yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Tannadice is never an easy venue to go to. I've been there once myself. I watched the title for Tommy. I was in amongst all the Dundee United supporters. It's an intimate little ground. It gets quite noisy and raucous in there. Like so, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's going to be a bit of an interesting one for us. I think after seeing what happened at Hampden, where we got overrun in the middle of the pitch, and then them playing a 3-5-2, middle of the pitch is going to be pretty crowded, as you're saying. So our wing play is going to have to be on point. So it's going to have to be a big game out of Maeda, a big game out of Kuhn in particular. But I just don't want to see that recycle pass across the back, because that's what they want. If they're playing a 3-5-2, it's going to be two guys up there challenging, and they're going to go at you. So you got to move it, get the ball, switch the ball, and get it up the field. So we'll have to probably be a little bit more direct, in my opinion, the way we want to do it. But how do you think having a week off between games will help us freshen up, Willie? Like, it's been a long time since we've had a break like this. The guys went down to the darts. CCV with his 119 being held up in that photo was an absolute pisser. But it's good to see the boys go, have a break, come back, get some proper training into them, work on a few things. How do you think having a week off and a bit of extra training time is going to help the boys?
It'll be good, like, but there's still a grueling schedule list there, so it's not going to be any easier. Like, you know what I mean? There's still going to be another game Wednesday and then a game Saturday after that. So as much as the rest will help coming into this game, they're still going to have to conserve the energy levels on the other side of it as well. So it's robbing Peter to pay Paul in some respects. Like,
yeah, it's one of them ones where I just hope we go hard early, we'll go back to Rodgers in the Invincible Treble system, go get the 3 goals up, and then just cruise the rest of the game just to get the points in the bank on the ladder and just move on. That's how, honestly, I think we're going to have to play it, especially through the Christmas New Year period. So, yeah, it's going to get a little bit heckers there, but yeah, I think the time off would have done us good. got a few guys get a bit extra physio time, a bit extra recovery, especially after going to penalties. Imagine if you had the game going to penalties and then you were playing 3 days later. And then you were playing 3 days later, like we've been doing. We actually timed that perfect with the break afterwards. So
Yeah.
I think it will freshen us up a bit, and I hope it wakes our guys up a bit too. So what are the key areas of focus for us to win the game, Willie? I said it's the wing play. What are you thinking?
I'm with you on that. It's going to be the wing play. It's about letting them. Well, they're going to get the ball. They're going to have the midfield packed out. So if Strain or the other fullback who's on the left try and step out, we've just got to try and get that ball in behind them and get the wingers into the space that they might be left in behind there, right? You know what I mean? So it might be a case of you might see Baye come into this game because he'll go around the outside rather than having someone like Greg Taylor who's going to sit in the middle. So yeah, it is for me. It's about utilising that space in the fullback areas. If the fullback step too high up the pitch, try and exploit that.
Yep. So with that, Willie, what's your expected starting lineup?
I've written that down here. So I've gone for Schmeichel in goals. I'm going to go Ralston, CCV, Scales, Baye, Kalma, Bernardo, McCowan, Maeda, Kuhn, and Ida up front.
So before I'll bring up the comments a bit afterwards here. So for me, yeah, it'll be Schmeichel in goals, Valle, and really struggling to join everyone. Is AJ injured or was he okay?
Nah, he just had a really quiet game. I just think he needs a bit of a rest. Like I think he might be just overplayed. He was really, really poor at the weekend. I thought he passed the ball out the pitch 3 times, so I think we just give him a bit of a rest coming into this one.
Okay. So. Yeah, I wasn't too sure, to be honest with you. So I'm just looking at our upcoming fixture list for a second here, just so I can make my call. All right, so I'm starting Johnson. I'm starting AJ, and then I will, because we've got Dundee United away, then we've got Motherwell and St Johnson. So I'm thinking AJ will play against Dundee United and against Motherwell, but then he'll be rested against St Johnson. That's how I'm thinking. Brendan will work it in groups of 3s with his rotation. So Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Valle, middle of the park, McCowan, Kalmack, and Bernardo up front, Kyogo, Kun, and Maeda. And your score prediction, Willie?
I'm going for a tough 2-0 win, and I'll have McCowan, former Dundee captain, and Adam Ida to score.
Nice. I'm going for a 3-1. And the only reason is that we'll get 3 goals up and then we'll try to conserve energy and then they'll score 1 later on. So goals will be scored by Kun will have 1, McCowan will have 1, and Kalmack will hit a rocket. It'll pinball in off someone. And then, I don't know, Ryan Strain will score for them. There you go. That's the Aussie connection. So what I'll do is I'll bring up a few of these comments and then we'll start to wrap the pod up. So what we've got here is Smell the Glove. We're saying send the Huns 119 bottles of bitter lemon. He's also saying hope Jim Goodwin doesn't park the bus like he used to at Pataudry against us. Smell the Glove's also saying wingers like Kun always cutting inside and not hitting the byline, and Hardlow crosses over isn't exactly helping Kyogo. Square Sausage Mick, high intensity of Champions League games and number of games has had an effect on the players and we can't keep playing Kun and Maeda all the time. Reinforcements in January can't come quick enough. Henrik McLaughlin is saying, I'm not sure how we get form back, but not playing 3 games a week will defo help. Square Sausage Mix saying, I agree, Kyogo not scoring enough. of May saying AJ needs rested and carrying a knock. And then Smell Guy saying can't see AJ until June 2nd. You're talking me into it, you lot. You're all making me think it's going to be Ralston now. So There we go. Question for you, Willie. Do you think Rangers will refuse to have Brother Beat and officiate them again?
No, Brother Beaton's their hero, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? Brother Beaton is probably the one that they will forgive in all this because he blew his whistle, but it's the VAR guys, so they're gunning for this time. So no, I don't think that. I don't think there'll be any sort of letters to the SFA saying he's not allowed to officiate their games anymore, like they did with Kevin Clancy and Willie Collum.
Robert
I wonder
Gibson
where they
saying
start.
Robert Gibson saying 3-1 Celtic. Smell the Glove saying 2-0 Hoops. Square Sausage Mick is saying Palmer hat trick Robert. If that happens, I can't. I'm gonna have to have some sort of comment from Robert on the bottom of the screen the whole of the next podcast. And after Sunday, it's a game every 3 or 4 days until February. Yeah, I was just looking at that, so it's gonna be insane. So, yeah, I think the easiest thing here is thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. For though, I think we got one more show before Christmas, so there'll be Monday's Pot Noodle. Oh, and then the weekend review will be on. So there's a couple of shows on Monday, and then yeah. So I wish you all the best for Christmas and New Year's, and that if you don't tune in on a Monday show. But Willie, we'll go to our final thoughts. So you got one ready?
Yeah, final thought for me. This is my final show. Probably until after Christmas. So Merry Christmas. Fuck the hands.
My final thought was going to be really simple. Wherever you are, whatever you do, if you get a Christmas present you don't like, please just don't boo Santa. Thanks for tuning in. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.